Londoners are no stranger to a thick fog, Hugo, but this is no regular weather phenomenon. Shall I recap? First, the fog lifted and we could see the moon. Its natural procession halted with that unnatural violet hue. Then, random violence erupted in the streets and crazed animals. Even for the East End, that's unexpected. But where did they come from? And now reports of radical zealots causing mayhem. Well, it's no mystery why Her Majesty chose to enlist my aid. I am, after all, the brightest technological mind of our era. Yes, thank you, Hugo. I believe we'll find the answers in the skies above London. Take a look at the etherioscope. These radiation readings, well, I don't know what to make of them. If the equipment is functioning properly, it shouldn't be possible. Unless... the engines must have been damaged in the storm. Fortunately, my armor kept me safe, but we'll need to make some repairs.
Burn the heretics.
Hugo, I believe these locals intend to do us harm. Kindly relay a missive to the Syndicate dispatch. We may need some assistance.
Miss Molly, it looks like you have correspondence. Must be urgent to reach you here.
I won't be needing that room tonight, Eustace. I'm off to help an old friend.
Emerging from the wood's darkest recesses, you spy a caravan in a clearing. Close by are a tent and a table, but the site is deserted. A warm campfire suggests that someone was recently here, though you have no desire to wait for them in a forest full of predators. Upon the table are a crystal ball, a candle, and several sheets of paper. A gust of wind sends a few sheets flying to the floor, revealing an item you hope no one will miss. You take it and leave the peculiar premises. You see a pillar of smoke and follow it to a small farm where the starling rests in a field. Despite signs of a struggle, it looks like lights are on inside. You climb the gangplank and find Griswold inside, ratcheting a leaking pipe. He looks relieved to see you and invites you to join him at a table covered in maps and scientific charts.
She'd make a fine barn, Griswold.
The Starling's engines took a beating in the storm, but she'll fly again. I just need the right parts.
The two of you seem to have your hands full. What exactly does Her Majesty need from me?
Our engines need replacement parts. Not something you can pick up in the Haypenny shop, but I'm sure you'll manage. Hugo and I need to stay here and finish repairs.
Is that all?
I'm certain the lunatics who accosted us outside were motivated by some external force. If you're able, find out what it is and put a stop to it.
Unidentified floral growths have seemingly sprouted up overnight near Rupert's Hollow, the site of an old logging clear-cut. The ragged stumps and rotted logs are now riddled with the shimmering pods. A low, even sound seems to rise from the ground beneath your feet. Casting about for the source, you realize it comes from the flowers. Somehow they are humming in unnatural unison. You block out the song, but it still leaves your head spinning. As you stumble past, you find something half buried in the dirt. The overgrown remains of a logging camp sit abandoned in a broad clearing. You soon notice a glowing lantern in the window of one of the shacks. Perhaps it's not entirely abandoned after all. A deep hush pervades the tumble-down roadside inn, where the patrons stare silently into their cups as the fire struggles against the damp. The innkeeper, Eustace Bell, stands behind the bar, a loaded musket hanging on the wall behind him. At the edge of the woods, you come upon a faded, ivy-choked manor. The eccentric scholar, Dr. Crowthorne, invites you inside. Within are shelf upon shelf of heavy black tomes, specimens in foggy glass jars, maps and other gewgaws. He offers sanctuary, though the house pulses with an undefinable energy. A Roma woman sits cross-legged before a small campfire along the roadside. Though she is old, her eyes are quick and bright. Anselina waves you over to share the warmth. She will also share her guidance and wisdom for a price. The pods all sprout from a web of thick purple vines. Following the vines, you discover that they all lead deeper into the forest, as if the pods were the nodes of some unholy nexus. The fire spreads rapidly, consuming the pods which burst like popped corn. One by one, bodies, human bodies, burst from the conflagration like seeds and thump to the ground. The sight and smell are seared in your memory. Letting out a scream that eerily echoes the kind made by humans, the massively oversized plant crumbles to the ground. Its vines shrivel up as they let out toxic fumes that mildly fog the nighttime they shall no longer haunt. A small comfort gained in a world that remains awash with terrors. A family in Epping Wake believes their daughter has been replaced by a changeling. They say the young girl in their house is in fact one of the Fae. Her laughter uncanny, her gaze still and unnerving. She speaks no more, but only titters madly. You offer to search for their child in the woods. Roma woman sits cross-legged before a small campfire along the roadside. Though she is old, her eyes are quick and bright. Anselina waves you over to share the warmth. She will also share her guidance and wisdom for a price. Inside the crumbling stone church, you're confronted by 3 stained glass saints with hollow eyes. Father Osgood is standing, arms spread before the altar, muttering to himself in an unfamiliar language. The steeple bell rings out, though the day is perfectly calm. overgrown remains of a logging camp sit abandoned in a broad clearing. You soon notice a glowing lantern in the window of one of the shacks. Perhaps it's not entirely abandoned after all. You stop to rest by an oak tree, and your sleep is disturbed by a vision. You stand before a stone table, upon which rest 3 swaddled infants. One is blanketed in white linen with a lilac pattern. The second is wrapped in muslin with bluebirds. The third is swaddled in green cloth, embroidered with tiny shepherds. Black water is rising at your feet, and you know you must choose one of them to save. You reach for the bundle with the lilac pattern before the rising water swallows everything in sight. Upon waking, you realize there's nothing in your hands. Suddenly, a branch breaks behind you and a young girl emerges from the woods. Without a word, she hands you a gift and you offer to help her find her way home. You return the girl to her parents. As you enter the home, the thing masquerading as their daughter confronts you. With a face disfigured and pale, it declares,
"You wretched people have only doomed yourselves."
The family cowers and awaits your decision. The creature gradually begins to change form, melting into the shape of a weasel with scaly black wings. It screeches at you before flying into the woods.